The Reliant Kore, a starter ship slash light freight ship. This ship is made to compete with the Aurora and Mustang series of ships and is made for when you are doing some light cargo runs with a couple of hindrances that may come into play and require this lighter hull and more nimble spacecraft to be able to maneuver around safely and with minimal damage. It makes use of some Xi'an technology from a moving cockpit that slots into place depending on the flight mode to omnidirectional thrusters, and even offers two different directional flight modes. The total cargo space this ship has is 6 SCU, which is more than the Auroras and Mustangs offer. You can very riskily hold hover vehicles in there, but I really wouldn't recommend doing that, and the weapons this ship gets are sufficient for destroying lighter targets and small damage to medium targets, but maybe don't engage in player targets if you're doing medium. If you can make use of your thrusters and different flight modes this ship has to offer, you can really start to become a bit of a problem for the enemies. Now, talking about the price of this ship, and you pay the price of $65 without any tax added, and to buy this ship in-game it will be for the relatively cheap price of 744,700 AUEC from Lorville. Now, talking about the quantum drive of this ship, and well, it's not bad to say the least, and is able to make it to most places unless you want to go long distances. For example, Microtech to Area 18, you'll more than likely have to refuel there, so just take into account that if you're ever trying to do any longer runs. And now if you guys could like and subscribe to help me reach my goal of 1k subs, I'm currently on 609 and I'll much appreciate it, thank you. And by the way, I do actually have channel memberships now if you're ever feeling interested in getting that. Now, starting off with a ship tour of the Reliant Kore, and as you can see it's actually got a smaller silhouette than you might have thought it would have had. It is a bit thin when you go down here, but its size is when it opens up its wings into the vertical directional mode. Now, as you can see just here, there is a turret. I remember this one here, is these what the co-pilot controls. There's one on the left side, and there's one on the other side on the right. These are on the ends of the wing. Our two thrusters are just here at the back, these are the only ones. And our ramp access is just here. This is the only access to the Reliant Kore, and the only entrance you can use. And now you can also see why I said it. You could technically fit a hover vehicle in here, but it's not really worth trying. The cargo space is held just here, all 6 of them, 3 either side, but it makes it a little bit cramped if you do this. But to be honest, you won't really store much else in here, so take your pick with doing that or not. Here's some component access, but you can't access them yet. And this actually shuts off this section here, so when you activate your ship and you change your wings to go up mode, this door here shuts and you can't exit it. In the cockpit though, we have 2 seats, pilot seat to the left, co-pilot seat to the right. In the co-pilot seat, you have access to your 2 turrets on either side of the ship. I'll just sit down here to show you it. Unfortunately, you can't fire them both at once and you do have to enter them separately, and this does take away the thing from the pilot, so he can't now control them when you're in it. As you can see here though, yeah, just the turrets on either side. Bit disorienting, but it does still work quite well, and that means if your friend wants to come along and use it, they can also have a good time. Entering into the pilot seat though. And sitting down here, you can see the visibility is actually quite nice. It is quite a small ship, so this is kind of expected, but you can see all around you, just slightly negated by this big MFD screen panel above you. Talking about the MFD screens, then you do have access to 6 of them. Over there, 4 at the bottom, 2 just above it. This is plenty, and you won't need any more. A few buttons above you here, some of them do work, some of them don't. And then we'll just do a quick acceleration test. This is from the ground, going up and then out. I will apply the thrusters with this as well, this with boost applied. Now as you can see from the footage, it does accelerate extremely fast and get you out of any sticky situations you may be in, especially if you utilise the thrusters to lift off and then shoot yourself out. That'll make you go extremely fast. And whilst you're watching this, I'd just like to say that the reclaim time for this ship is about 40 seconds, so it's not really anything to be honest. Now in order to activate the wing mode, you press Alt and K. This makes your wings do this. And this allows you to, for example, turn quicker in a combat fight and makes your silhouette a little bit harder to damage. This also makes it a little bit easier for your co-pilot to aim, as both the turrets will be facing towards the enemy instead of to the side of them. That's it for the ship tour though. It's now time for the combat usage of this ship. Now if we take a quick look at the weapons that this ship has to offer, and it comes with 2 sized 1 laser cannons. These are just for the pilot, and these are okay. You don't run out of ammo with these as quickly as the other turrets. So yes, you have these as a pilot, and then as a co-pilot you can use 4 sized 2 laser repeaters. Now of course the pilot can use all of these at once, or your co-pilot can take 1 turret and use the 2 guns on that. Now the ammo on the Badger laser repeaters can run out a bit quickly sometimes, so do make sure you're using your ammo wisely when you're using it. There's also some missiles on the ship which a pilot can control. These are 4 sized 2 infrared missiles. These deal quite a decent amount of damage and are a nice bonus for this ship, seeing as it's not made for combat. For shields, you get 2 sized 1 shields. These aren't the greatest, and because of this ship's quite large size in a way, it does make it a bit easy to destroy if you get the right angle on it, which is why it's quite good to utilise the Alt+K directional wings mode on it. Now talking about the handling, and it's pretty good for this ship, and you can turn to keep with targets with the opposing ship majority of the time, so you can keep on target with them, make sure your guns are hitting most of the time, and you can accelerate to keep up or keep away other ships very easily, so that's a good bonus if you wanted to do combat. But do remember, this isn't a combat ship, so overall for a combat usage it's pretty good, to be honest. And from what I've seen, I would only personally engage in smaller and medium ranged NPC targets, and maybe some player ships if they're in the low end, but I wouldn't engage in anything higher than a low end ship if it's a real player. But if you're really good at combat, then go ahead and give it a go. Now it's time for a personal review / overview, and personally what I like about this ship is how it's implemented alien technology into its design, with its wings being rotatable and the omnidirectional thrusters to allow for speedy takeoff and landings. I feel that although the shields and weapons of this ship are not the strongest, they are definitely suitable for engaging in lower end combat and maybe some NPC higher end combat. For some reason, I can only seem to exit the seats of this ship when the landing gear is lowered, which I feel is a little bit odd, or it's just a bug for me, but who knows. It's really quite nice to walk into the hangar though and see this ship's size too, as it makes an unexpected view for me every time, as I always expect it to be bigger than it is, but forget that the size is actually there when you rotate the wings around. Remember to let me know down in the comments what your opinions on this ship is. I'd love to read them and see what you guys have to say about it. Now thank you everyone for watching the video, it's been a pleasure making it, and I'll see you in the next one. Duffer out.